Good morning, everybody. We have got confirmed tornadoes just to the west of DFW. One that's heading up toward Decatur. The other one is along I-20, just to the west of Weatherford. These are west of DFW. There's also multiple tornado warnings up into southern Oklahoma, too. This is a live breakdown here. Ahead of the storm chase, I'm down in Tyler along Interstate 20. Waiting in the target area where we believe that it looks most favorable for tornadoes later on this afternoon. But remember the live weather briefing that we did yesterday, we discussed the morning threat in DFW. Stand by, just getting everything up and running here. Just woke up, numerous tornado warnings. I don't think that we want to get after that right away because, of course, we want to stay here where the greatest tornado threat is in effect. The blizzard warning is east of Denver. Just getting this thing fired up, everybody. Thanks for joining me this morning. We are in Tyler, Texas, about to activate storm chase mode. Got Captain Vanover down here. Got Ryan Argenti with a tilting project, and we are about to be dominating. Yeah, storm chase mode has definitely already begun, and we have got these tornadoes. This is a confirmed tornado just to the south of Decatur. It is passing south of Decatur. Look at that tight circulation. You can definitely see where the tornado is located, right about there. This is your RFD gust front. This is your mesocyclone above. This is the town of Decatur just to the north. This is moving off to the northeast. So that couplet is passing just to the south of the Decatur, Texas area. Let's take a look at debris, and there it is. There is a debris ball. That's a TDS, a tornado debris signature, just to the southeast of Decatur. There you can see that confirmed tornado passing just to the southeast of the Decatur area. It, of course, coincides with the velocity couplet. It's about to adjust once again. There you can see the hook as it just surged off to the east. You can even see the enhanced reflectivity right at the tip of the RFD gust front. So the RFD is right about like this. Look at that RFD gust front. That's where the debris ball is located. You can see this weak echo region too. That's the inflow that's flowing into this supercell storm. So this is a dangerous situation. The tornado is passing just to the south of the Decatur area. And just to the southeast of Decatur now. There's the supercell storm. It's got a ton of lightning on it. You can even see some of the stratiform rain out ahead of it, a little bit of cloud cover. Almost decouples the boundary layer even more, enhancing the low-level wind shear available to these storms. But look at that supercell structure. Classic bean-shaped supercell. It's pulling in inflow. Right there, it's got debris right at the tip of the hook. And there's another storm, too, right along I-20 that we've been watching, and that's coming into Weatherford, where there's a tornado warning right now. Weatherford, Texas. This is just to the west of DFW. And it looks like that one has let go a little bit, which is good news for Weatherford. There is your leftover tornado. You basically have a pop in the RFD, a little bit of some westerlies enhanced there, but it looks like that tornado has lifted, which is good news. Let's head on over and see if there's a debris, and there is still debris falling out of that, so the tornado still appears in progress. right along I-20, I believe. It might have just weakened and that debris is still suspended in the air, but that is likely still the tornado going on back behind the RFD gust front. This is your RFD bulge, and a lot of times those tornadoes will happen right just behind that rear flank downdraft gust front. That's where the occlusion happens. This is I-20. Look at Weatherford just to the northeast, so you want to be in your safe place. Weatherford, Texas, confirmed tornado heading toward your location, moving right along I-20 as well. So we go back on over to the correlation coefficient. This basically shows that there's vast differences in the sizes of the particles that the radar is scanning. You've got rain, you've got hail, and there probably not as much hail, a lot more rain. And then you've got debris. You've got leaves, large debris getting lofted, and that shows a lower correlation value, intercorrelation value between the different particles. But this debris is heading up toward Weatherford. There's Weatherford just in the path of this thing. It's very likely that that's suspended debris still, and it's possible that that tornado has just lifted, but you want to be in your safe place in Weatherford. Sometimes the radar just can't quite resolve these really small, tight tornadoes. 1 pixel, they're within the resolution of the pixels, but that's the tornado right behind the RFD gust front. There's Weatherford just ahead of it. So you want to be in your safe place, Weatherford. Even though I believe that is probably debris suspended, there definitely is a correlation drop there. And here is the other tornado. The good news is that it just missed Decatur, barely missing Decatur just off to the southeast. But there is your correlation drop. Tornado right now passing just to the southeast of Decatur. Look at that couplet. Classic. That's where your tornado is located. I'm not sure if it's up a little bit further north or if it's down here. Probably down here. That's your maximum and storm relative inflow just to the east of the tornado. It's probably right there. It looks like there's a bit of an RFD surge that's coming in, leading to that reduction almost in velocity. But you probably have an RFD surge coming in right on the south side of that tornado, right about in there. And I believe that tornado passing just to the east of Decatur. Decatur's included in the tornado warning, but it is passing just to your east, which is at least good news for Decatur. But there are some farm homes just outside of Decatur that are getting impacted. And it does look like it's that southern circulation just ahead of that RFD nose. Again, we are tracking confirmed tornadoes to the west of the DFW Metroplex. We've got 2 tornado warnings. And boy, watch this storm to the west of Gainesville too. This thing's starting to rotate out near Lindsay. Watching that one closely too. Looks like we have some increased storm relative inflow just to the east of that couplet. But watching this area just to the west of Gainesville. Keep an eye on this storm. This could easily go tornado warned on approach to the Gainesville area. And we had numerous tornado warnings earlier in south central Oklahoma. Flash flood warning in Norman. I saw some pictures from the University of Oklahoma campus. It's possibly the Dominator 1 and 2 are getting flooded out in our warehouse up there in Norman. And then this is your line of storms pushing east toward the DFW Metroplex. Remember yesterday we talked about this during the briefing, that during the morning the environment did become quite favorable for tornadoes near the DFW Metroplex to watch out during your morning rush hour. Look at that tornado happening. It's passing just to the east of Decatur. We go back over to the correlation drop. Tornado still happening. A ton of lightning, of course. An energized storm. 7:17 in the morning. We're just getting to sunrise here. Starting to see it is dark out there. And some of these tornadic storms have been impacting I-20 too, to the west of DFW. And look at all of this stratiform rain out ahead of these storms. That almost enhances the low-level wind shear available to these. You get a low-level jet just over top that stratiform rain. It almost creates a slippery lower boundary condition for these storms to thrive, almost like an ocean surface. So Weatherford, you've got a tornadic supercell that is right over you right now this morning at 7:17. This is your RFD gust front. There's a couple cells that are forming kind of in the wake of it in the outflow boundary that it's leaving behind. But basically your circulation is embedded right inside that rain. You've got the hook echo on the backside, streamwise vorticity coming in, and you're starting to get some storms developing out ahead of it too, out near Hudson Oaks that might impact some of the inflow available to this storm. So that might be the saving grace for Weatherford. It does look like that circulation let go a little bit on approach to town. You can see that couplet has weakened quite a bit. We saw suspended debris that was heading toward Weatherford. There could have even been debris coming out of the sky, probably leaves coming out of the sky, some debris in the Weatherford area. But that drop right there, that's your correlation drop. That tells me that there is leaves, there's debris, definitely particles that are larger, of a different size than just raindrops. Could even have some hail in there, but that's probably suspended debris from the earlier tornado that impacted portions of I-20 to the southwest of Weatherford a little bit earlier. So this is definitely a dangerous situation. Very compact supercell that's passing to the east of Decatur. I believe that's 380. Yeah, and there is the circulation. A ton of lightning strikes, cloud-to-ground lightning strikes, strong couple that we're monitoring. Looks like it might even be cycling a bit. So we just saw that debris, the TDS signature, weaken just a bit, and I'm starting to see those velocities weaken. It might be just kind of cycling. Sometimes these will breathe in and out a little bit. I'm waiting for the next scan to see where the debris is located. Still debris suspended in the air, just to the north of the highway, north of Highway 380. You still do have that debris suspended in the air, but the couplet still very strong. So it's possible that the tornado is still in progress. It's a very, yeah, I think that is a tornado in progress. Right to the north of the interstate, coinciding with that TDS, that correlation drop. And there it is. Look at that, just to the north of 380. That's the most dangerous storm possibly in the world right now on this space and time scale. And definitely do have a tornado in there. You can see a very compact RFD structure bulging out a bit. That's where your RFD is located. Forward flank downdraft 2, forward flank gust front. And in between those two, you have the squeeze play, southeasterly inflow, pumping into that area. This is in Decatur right now, folks. Please share this stream if you know anybody here in North Texas. I'm breaking down this radar just before we start storm chase mode. I'm in the Tyler, Texas area right now. But Crum, you're included in the tornado warning. Sanger, it does look like this is going to pass just to the north of Denton. There's I-35. There's where it splits, W, east. And this is heading off to the northeast. It is heading in the general direction of Sanger. You're not included in the tornado warning yet. You're just east of that tornado warning boundary. But this is a dangerous storm, and I'm definitely not seeing anything that's going to slow this down. The environment is quite favorable for tornadoes. Very strong wind shear in place. And again, Sanger, if you anywhere between Sanger and Decatur, you want to be in your safe place. But thank you, everybody. If you're here on Facebook, I'm definitely getting throttled on here. Getting about 1 to 5% of the previous reach. And it's really important during these tornado outbreaks that we're not throttled on these platforms. So if you could share it on Facebook, maybe turn that like button into a follow, and then I think you'll start getting notifications. But I'm definitely noticing that a lot of my followers aren't getting notifications, and that includes when it's most critical, when there are tornadoes on the ground. So thank you so much, everybody. I've been here on Facebook for like 15, 17 years or something like that, building these millions of followers, and definitely do enjoy providing this information and increasing awareness for severe weather. And there you can see the debris. That's a TDS, tornado debris signature, northeast of Decatur, heading toward the Sanger area. Get in your safe place. There's your tornado right there. So this is lofting debris, whether it's fall colors, whether it's grass, whether it's actual debris. There's farm homes out here, of course. It did miss Decatur just off to the south, passed just to the east of Decatur, but continues just to the northeast of Decatur. Dangerous tornado. There you can see it. We're using Dallas-Fort Worth radar. It's a little bit embedded in there, and it looks like the circulation may have weakened just a bit, which is good news. You still have a lot of this storm relative inflow to the east of the circulation. Still watching this area to tighten up once again. But the good news is that at least it looks like that latest scan, maybe the circulation has weakened just a bit. Bad news is that this circulation to the west of Gainesville continues to organize. And this is approaching I-35 near Gainesville, near Lindsay. There's your circulation. Gainesville, Lindsay area. Still pretty broad, but I wouldn't be surprised if that tightens up. And you also see tornado warnings out of that storm too up near Gainesville. Look at that supercell structure. Classic bean-shaped supercell. Hook-like appendage just to the east of Lindsay, Texas. Good morning, everybody. We got tornado warnings, North Texas into southern Oklahoma. You can also see a lot of this isentropic lift as a low-level jet starting to increase. Even a little prefrontal trough, prefrontal confluence line up through the Burleson area. I remember I saw a comment yesterday from somebody from Burleson asking me if the tornado threat included your location. I responded yes. And off to the west of Burleson, you can see 3 or 4 supercells lined up. You've got more developing out near Stephenville, Dublin area, even back toward Comanche, Texas. You've got those developing. They're just going to continue to mature in this environment. Look at that one. This thing's starting to get going south of I-20. Let's take a look at velocity on that storm. Not incredibly strong yet, but it's just starting to get organized. This is the mesocyclone. That's the circulation coming together. Thank you, everybody, for joining me this morning. We are covering live tornado potential in North Texas to the west of the DFW Metroplex. This storm just lifted northeast of Weatherford. Didn't have a tornado on the ground when it went through Weatherford, but you may have seen debris falling from the sky, leaves, twigs, maybe even structural debris from down there a little closer to I-20, just to the southwest of Weatherford. That's where it crossed I-20. Possibly had some motorists on the road out there, certainly. But now the circulation just to the northeast of Weatherford might be getting a little bit tighter to the north of Hudson Oaks. You know, it's a pretty broad circulation up there to the north of Hudson Oaks, but still keeping an eye on that. Relatively broad circulation, but it is a healthy mesocyclone. This one was our known tornado producer northeast of Decatur. Looks like that tornado has now lifted, which is good news. We have a little bit less in the way of rotation with velocity, but we're watching this storm north of Gainesville now, crossing I-35. Motorists, if you're heading north of Gainesville, anywhere near Gainesville or the Red River on I-35, be careful because very gusty winds, likely severe weather, winds gusting to 60 miles an hour with this storm. This storm has a mesocyclone, so it is going to be capable of producing winds that are even more damaging, especially with that storm relative inflow, which continues to increase. A lot of times before these storms go tornado warned, you'll see the storm relative inflow start to increase. That says that storm is pulling in all the heat and moisture. All the air wants to go in toward the low pressure, and that's why you get the ramp up of the storm relative inflow as the low-level mesocyclone starts to increase. But that's approaching I-35 north of Gainesville. Look at all the lightning strikes. A lot of times, too, these storms will get more energized as they go tornadic. But boy, these storms now to the west of DFW Metroplex, I'm really concerned about these. And not just the tornado warned one that's to the northwest of Willow Park, but also this one that's starting to organize to the south of I-20. This one's starting to get a mesocyclone that's beginning to organize too. It looks like this storm is starting to reorganize. It is going to pass to the north of the DFW Metroplex, but anytime you get this large kind of cyclonically curved gradient to the reflectivity, this storm is likely pulling in quite a bit of inflow, and it's possibly starting to recoil, almost like a spring that's coiling back up again. So I'm going to be watching this area for intensifying rotation and tornado potential as it's passing just to the north of the DFW Metroplex. Right now, this doesn't have a tornado on the ground, but it does look like the rotation is starting to increase again just to the northwest of Willow Park, and this is going to pass just north of Willow Park in that location. I do want to look at the environments, too, that these are in, but keep in mind this is still tornado warned to the west of Sanger. It's passing to the north of Crum. Rotation is definitely weakening on these storms, so I do want to go back and show you what the environment looks like. Of course, we do have a tornado watch out here. We're going to use the RAP analysis. We also have the blizzard conditions that are unfolding on the cold side of this system. Yeah, I don't think that we want to go after it right out of the gate just yet, but we'll keep an eye on it here. The greater tornado threat is definitely out in the Texas piney woods, out into Louisiana. Here's the environment that these storms are moving into. This is the windy.com app, and of course you can see the front. There's the DFW Metroplex, there's Mineral Wells, and this is the front that's moving off to the southeast. This is going to be our weather maker today, and also these prefrontal confluence lines that develop out ahead. Basically factories of supercell storms, tornadic supercell storms in the open warm sector, closer to the heart of the low-level jet. But now we've got this nose of instability nosing all the way through the DFW Metroplex into southern Oklahoma. And we got a lot of Cape surface-based instability that's surging north. We got southerly flow out ahead of this. There's the dew points. Look at those dew points in Dallas, guys. 66, 68 even on the west side of Dallas. Fort Worth, you're up to 68 degrees too. So big time dew points that are lifting up through the DFW Metroplex. You can see some of these numbers. There's Fort Worth at a 68, Dallas. Even on the north side of the DFW Metroplex, you kind of drop into the low to middle 60s. So big time moisture return. And there's your surface-based instability, your Cape axis going almost all the way up to the Red River. Due southerly winds up ahead of it. You've also got a warm front, though, that's lifting northward up toward the I-20 corridor. This is the area that we're targeting for strong tornado potential, even a little south of that. That's going to be the Texas piney woods into central and northern Louisiana, but including the I-20 corridor, Tyler through Shreveport, all the way to Monroe. But that's why we're getting tornadoes this morning in DFW. Look at the storm relative helicity, SRH greater than 300 available to these storms. Anywhere in this zone, and that includes the DFW Metroplex up to the Red River, and also enclosed by the warm front and the cold front that's drifting off to the southeast. Anything boxed in with that environment, and this is heading that way, is going to be dangerous today. High tornado potential out here. Enhanced risk, also the potential for strong to potentially violent tornadoes, Texas piney woods into central northern Louisiana. Good news is that our storm to the west of Sanger is weakening just a little bit. There's Sanger out ahead of it, but we just analyzed the environment and it is quite favorable for tornadoes throughout the DFW Metroplex. We've got a broken line of supercells that's also approaching the Metroplex. We talked about this yesterday during our live briefing. Thanks everybody for joining us this morning. Some damage has been reported, yes, in Oklahoma, I believe up near Wayne. I haven't confirmed, obviously I haven't confirmed if that's tornado damage yet or not. Wondering if we should just blast west and just chase this convective line from east of Tyler, southeast of Tyler. I'm also looking at the 12ZHRRR model. And boy, right around 19Z, right around midday, that's when I think that it could be active right here around the Tyler area. So we've got those dangerous storms approaching the DFW Metroplex. And let me show you what the latest HRRR shows on its composite reflectivity. We'll just jump straight to the chase, and there it is. This is later on 19Z. This is close to midday into the early afternoon hours. it definitely shows these renegade supercells setting the stage for an outbreak, potentially, of tornadoes across the Texas piney woods, including the threat of strong to violent tornadoes. All these individual beams are going to travel across East Texas through central northern Louisiana with strong to potentially violent tornadoes. Go into the early afternoon hours and look at all these supercell storms across East Texas. Definitely does look like an East Texas event out here based on the HRRR, at least into the early afternoon. And then as we go into evening, that's going to spread eastward into Louisiana. So I may even want to get chasing right out of the gate. And then eventually, as we get toward 5 p.m., the convective line starts to approach the Shreveport area. Looks like potentially that stratiform precipitation sets up again ahead of the convective line. And of course, we do have forecast soundings that are supportive of tornadoes today. Very favorable photographs. Look at that. Wow. Very favorable photographs for tornadoes. Due southerly surface wind at about 10 knots. 1 kilometer wind greater than 40 knots. Creating very strongly curved photographs. Well ventilated updrafts too. Probably is time to blast west, everybody. I'm going to go back to the radar, but yeah, it is time to activate storm chase mode. We probably need to get to the east side of the DFW Metroplex, and we'll just chase these things the whole way. But look at these storms, supercells approaching DFW. We're getting close to the diurnal minimum, though, where it's possible that this line might start to peter out a little bit, start to weaken a bit. This is to the south of I-20. Looks like some of these storms are weakening, but we even have some of these renegades that are trying to form over the DFW Metroplex, which is very concerning. And those renegades are going up spinning too. Look at that. New tornado warning southwest of the DFW Metroplex, southwest of Tolar area, southwest of Granbury. That's your circulation west-southwest of the Tolar area. Not a tornado yet, but it has the potential to produce a tornado at any time. Watching that area for a correlation drop. Southwest of Granbury, it's heading right up the road through Tolar, up toward Granbury. Eventually toward Crescent, you're even included in that tornado warning as well. You can see the inflow notch into the storm as it's pulling in that inflow. There's your weak echo region. Tornado would be right on the tip of the hook. Right on the tip of that RFD bulge is where that tornado would be located. Pulling in a lot of inflow right now. New tornado warning as well for this storm. Just to the southwest of the Azle area. West of Eagle Mountain, west of Sanctuary. We definitely want to watch these prefrontal confluence lines, prefrontal confluence areas out ahead. That's where we could see renegade formation. We're down here in Lindale right now, so waiting on the interstate. May drift a little bit west, though, for this, honestly. It's 7:30 in the morning. May head just a little bit west and sample this line, or at least wait for the convective line to approach. We're not going to have incredibly fast storm motion, so I do think that we could probably get aggressive with these. And as we mentioned, that storm up near the Red River is now tornado warned too. This one, just southeast of Thackerville, northeast of Gainesville. This is the one that we've been watching the whole entire time. Look at that storm relative inflow really start to ramp up on this storm. That's the big inflow that it's starting to pull in. That storm is absolutely going nuts. Look at that supercell moving northeast, passing just to the north of Callisburg. So right now we have 4 tornado warnings to the west of DFW. It's probably time for us to head back toward DFW and chase this. We want to get this line when it's on the east side of the DFW Metroplex. Hey, what's up, Johnny? I'm live right now on social media.
Dude, I ran out of battery. I was up on my
And
I was
Hey, Johnny, I'm live. I'm live on Facebook right now breaking down these tornado warnings.
Okay, I'll see you in Tyler.
Let me call you right back. We might head west to catch this convective line as it approaches DFW.
Yep, I'm at Rose Hill Road right now.
Okay, I'm live right now on social media breaking down radar, so I'm going to probably end this live and then we'll head west toward the convective line here pretty soon.
Alrighty.
All right. Thanks, Johnny. So yeah, we've got a tornado warning still active west of Sanger. Even though that circulation is a lot weaker, it's not as strong to the west of Sanger. Still wouldn't be surprised if that ramps back up again. This one just south of the Red River is going nuts. That's just to the northwest of Callisburg. Got to keep a close eye on that storm as well. But this tornado event has definitely begun, and we're about to get started. We've got this one southwest of Azle that has just issued a new warning. I'm not seeing any debris evidence right now on that storm. It's southwest of Sanctuary, Azle, Pelican Bay. Getting near a safe place. That could be a dangerous one as well. Look at that RFD gust front too. Pretty textbook. The RFD bulge, inflow notch, pulling in that southeasterly inflow. And you even have this stratiform rain just out to the east of it. And yeah, right now I'm wondering if we should probably just activate storm chase mode. Again, this is a pretty dangerous environment that's in place around DFW. Very important to stay tuned to those severe weather watches and warnings. We broke down the environment. We've got at least 2 to 300 0 to 1 kilometer storm relative helicity. We've got surface-based instability. We've even got these prefrontal confluence lines that are starting to develop renegades right over DFW. So we got to keep an eye on this too. But it does appear that this event has already begun. And I do think that later on this afternoon, we're going to be wanting to watch these prefrontal confluence lines. This is probably the most dangerous storm right now, southwest of Granbury. It's just starting to tighten up, even though it's further southwest down the line. There's still tons of low-level wind shear available to these storms. This one is in effect for the north side of the DFW Metroplex, Keller, Eagle Mountain, Pelican Bay. And it's pushing off to the east. Definitely a dangerous situation this morning here for the DFW Metroplex. And look at all these storms just ramp up and take shape as they're approaching this wind shear. We even got to watch this one southwest of Aledo. This one's trying to charge into the DFW Metroplex head on, this storm. You've got to keep an eye on this one as well. It's got a couple of cell mergers to get through, but that could also become a storm with tornado potential. This one went warned just to the northeast of Gainesville and looks to be blowing apart a little bit, weakening, but still has that tornado warning. Still a ton of storm relative inflow just to the east of it. Definitely need to keep an eye on that too. Dangerous day ahead. We've got an enhanced risk. That includes the Texas Piney Woods into central and northern Louisiana. That's going to continue through the overnight hours tonight. And we also have these renegades that are starting to develop near the DFW Metroplex. Watching some of these storms closely. We've already seen a couple of confirmed tornadoes. We had one that passed just to the south and then to the east of Decatur that we were watching closely. There was another one that was to the southwest of Weatherford that basically crossed I-20. Hopefully no motorists out there southwest of Weatherford, but we've got multiple tornado warnings right now. 3 tornado warnings to the west of the DFW Metroplex. But yeah, it is live storm chase mode. We've also got that flash flood warning. That includes Norman, areas around campus. I thought that this convective line was going to peak at like 7, 8, 9 in the morning and then might come down a little bit, and then the whole outbreak will ramp back up toward late morning. Yeah, this one's still trying to organize southwest of the Toller area. I want to look and see if there's any debris. I'm not seeing anything. This area of blue out here is just due to the gradient of reflectivity. It's right next to the edge of the clear air where it's pulling in that inflow. That's a radar artifact and not actually a debris area. You can look at, you go back and forth between the different products and you can see that that's related to the gradient of reflectivity there. But this one's trying to organize. It does have a lot of precipitation back behind it, some new storms that are trying to organize too, back to the west of that one. 3 tornado warned storms, but you got to watch anything in this environment. It has the potential to ramp up. One thing we do have going for us is that at least we're near the diurnal minimum, the morning convective minimum. A lot of times during the morning hours, this convection is starting to weaken and starting to subside before the ramp up of the heating of the day. This is the dangerous cell because long term it could be heading into the DFW Metroplex. So that is definitely one thing we need to keep an eye out. May head west toward Terrell and try to get on that. Even though it is to the west of this main prefrontal confluence line, it is right along the main front. We do want to get on those prefrontal confluence lines mainly, but probably by the middle of the afternoon. So this tornado outbreak has already begun. I am just going to transition from doing this live weather briefing to pure storm chase mode here. Trying to stream live on Facebook and YouTube, but I'm definitely getting throttled on Facebook. For some reason, the artificial intelligence over there has decided that I can only get 1 to 5% of my reach, even on these big severe weather days. That's dangerous because people do depend on these updates to increase awareness for severe weather. Hopefully that all changes here soon. I think there's just a lot of crazy changes happening at the end of this pandemic bubble or something. Who knows? Changes of where you can get your content. And we do have these tornadic storms to the west of the DFW Metroplex that are quite dangerous. This one, Toller to Granbury to Crescent. Keep an eye on that storm, the southernmost one. Also further north, keep an eye out. Azle to Keller. And we also have the tornado warning up near the Red River too, just northeast of Gainesville, but this one is weakening a little bit. But you still have that area of strong storm relative inflow just to the north of Callisburg. You have a ton of lightning out here too. Look at all those lightning strikes. The tornado warning goes all the way up to the Red River, but not quite on the Oklahoma side of the red just yet. Boy, has it been a crazy fall for severe weather, for all extreme weather. Hurricanes, snowstorms, lake effect snow, and also these multiple tornado outbreaks. So as soon as we hit the road, we're going to go live once again. I was telling Brian that we might not go live until about 11 a.m., but figured I'd go live with this life-threatening weather impacting Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. And we do have a severe thunderstorm warning that has been issued that includes Fort Worth for this storm that we were a bit concerned of. It's possible that once this storm clears these lead storms or absorbs them, that this appendage back here to the south could develop tornado potential as it approaches the DFW Metroplex. So keep an eye on that. If you know anybody in the DFW Metroplex, be sure to share this stream. We're breaking this down live. We've even got these renegades that are developing out over the DFW Metroplex all by themselves. Strong wind shear, a favorable thermodynamic and kinematic combination for tornadoes out here. We've got surface-based instability rocketing up northward through the DFW Metroplex into southern Oklahoma. We've got a convective line that's approaching the area. We've got very strong wind shear in place. And we've got this one that's now severe with potential damaging winds. heading into the DFW area. Severe thunderstorm warning that's in effect. Fort Worth includes the I-20 corridor, of course. You got a tornado warning to the north of it. Strong rotation up near Pelican Bay. That's potential could produce a tornado. There's no tornado on the ground right now, and the circulation's a little bit broad. Not seeing a correlation drop with that storm. We also have the tornado warning just southwest of Kingston, Oklahoma, that includes all the way up to the Red River. That is weakening a little bit. I wonder if that's going to cycle. Good news is that the storm, at least southwest of Granbury, might be trying to broaden its rotation just a bit out near Toller to Granbury. Yeah, I just told him we don't want to drive all the way into DFW and then miss the whole event either in the Texas Piney Woods into central Louisiana. Especially during rush hour. You get anywhere close to the DFW Metroplex and you're probably going to be riding out the entire storm chasing event in a traffic jam. Watching this area approaching the DFW Metroplex southwest of Aledo. That's where the rotation could be. Watching right there at the point. Looks like there could be some type of a differential heating boundary that is setting up right through Dallas because they're getting these renegade storms that are kind of developing along this west to east band right through DFW. It's possible that this storm that's approaching just to the west of DFW could move right along that boundary through the DFW Metroplex and even have greater tornado potential. Now that's where the rotation would be, just southwest of Aledo. That's the area we're watching for tornado potential right at the tip. See this little elbow, that little area that bends? That's the area that I am watching for the development of tornado potential. Right now, it just has a severe thunderstorm warning. Yeah, severe thunderstorm warning. DFW, includes Fort Worth, west of Dallas, but it does include Arlington, Euless areas, Haltom City. There's your severe thunderstorm warning. Also, we have this area up near Pelican Bay that appears to be increasing its rotation. So I think that the tornado potential is actually increasing up near Pelican Bay too. Supercell storm continues to lift off to the northeast. It does have a lot of this stratiform rain out ahead of it. Not sure if that helps or hurts the tornado potential at this point. Generally, I think that it actually helps the tornado potential during these off hours like this. And I'm definitely concerned about this storm that's heading into the DFW Metroplex. This hook-like appendage on the southwest side of the storm is definitely pulling in inflow on the east of it, right near Aledo. Probably got a wall cloud right out your back door. And it's not tornado warned. This is the severe thunderstorm warning, but what has me concerned is that this one's heading right into Fort Worth. This one's heading right into Fort Worth and definitely could have increasing tornado potential on it. Looks like it does have just kind of a broad area of convergence right now, just west of Fort Worth. Not enough to warrant a tornado warning, of course, but that's how it begins. Kind of this elongated zone of convergence, then it tightens up, then you'll see the storm relative inflow start to increase into it. Kind of the positive feedback mechanisms will develop, and then eventually you'll get tornado genesis that will happen. Hopefully that doesn't happen, but it does look like this one's starting to weaken a little bit to the southwest of Granbury despite that strong inflow into the storm. And it does seem like the elbow region is either going to be this storm that's heading into DFW or it's going to be the one just to the north of it up near Pelican Bay. Good news is that the storm southwest of Kingston has weakened in terms of its rotation. Looks like a special weather statement has been extended onto the Oklahoma side of that storm. Right now, the most dangerous storm is definitely the one west of Hazlitt, Pelican Bay. You've got a lot of storm relative inflow into that. This is the most dangerous portion of that storm right now. And I am seeing damage, tree damage south of Decatur, farm damage. So there is damage in Decatur. I am seeing that right now. Already. Yeah, there's already damage being reported on Twitter just south of Decatur where that tornado passed. That's the one that we were tracking to. That passed just to the south of Decatur and passed to the east of Decatur too. But I know that there's a lot of farm homes down in that area, and it does look like they already sustained damage. Damn. Dangerous storm heading into the DFW Metroplex that appears to have access to surface-based instability. Wouldn't be surprised if this tightens up and develops tornado potential as it moves right through Fort Worth, through DFW. It's got a severe thunderstorm warning right now, but wouldn't be surprised if that tightens up. The limit that we could do, guys, is we could go all the way to Terrell, really, and just wait. And just wait for those storms with tornado potential. And then we can always head to the east as the renegades will form. Dangerous storm heading into Fort Worth. Watching the tip of the hook-like appendage right now. And right now we got this broad area of convergence. A lot of times, though, that's how they start. You'll get a little wiggle in the convergent line, and then you get the increase in storm relative inflow into it, and then you get the gradual increase in the low-level mesocyclone, and then you get tornado genesis. And I'm worried that this is happening just as it's coming into DFW. Severe thunderstorm warning includes DFW. You got the tornado warning to the north. This is a tornado producer. Actually, the one west of Sanger was the tornado producer. This is the one that's left over of the storm that caused the damage just to the south of Decatur. It's now approaching I-35, weakening a bit. Broad area of convergence. Hopefully it remains this way and just remains a yellow box right as it moves through the DFW area. I do think we probably want to head toward the Terrell area and then wait for the approach of that line. Yeah, Captain Vanover said the drone will be ready in 5 minutes, and we're just going to head to the east side of the DFW Metroplex and wait for the convective line to approach. Good news that the Granbury storm is losing its rotation as it's moving through Granbury, so still stay in your safe place because there is a tornado warning, but to me it looks like that storm, the tornado threat is actually decreasing with it, and I'm more concerned about this severe storm that's heading into Fort Worth. Well, that's good news for those storms. Oh boy, we definitely do have damage south of Decatur. Just saw a video of it. So patience is key. Obviously, you don't want to just roll right into the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. Traffic this morning right at rush hour. That would pretty much end the storm chase. But you also don't want to miss any tornadoes. So I do think, though, that around midday, this area down near Tyler, Lindale, is going to take off. And it's going to be out around this area that really happens. So if we do head west out of Tyler toward the Terrell area, we'd just be waiting for this convective line to move through the DFW Metroplex. And it's really going to be these prefrontal confluence lines that set up as we go through the heating of the day later on today that we want to be more concerned about. Good news is that this storm appears to be not finding a single dominant sole mesocyclone. You can kind of see it's a conglomerate of all these individual supercell storms in here. And that's a good news for tornado potential, and that it should at least make this thing take some time for it to ramp up. But it does have damaging wind potential as it moves through Fort Worth. There's your severe thunderstorm warning. Little Renegade is pumping out a lot of lightning just on the east side of Fort Worth even. I don't think it has enough mass, or it's going to be mature enough to develop tornado potential over the DFW Metroplex. Thank you everybody for tuning in here. Hit that notification bell because I am activating live storm chase mode today. And I do think that we're going to have a tornado outbreak today. We've got Captain Vanover on board. We're going to be doing the drone racing, flying the racing drone into the tornado. We've got Ryan Argenti with the tilting project out here. And we are going to be doing a marathon live storm chase today. We've already broken down the environment into Dallas. Plenty of surface-based instability, about 300 plus year to 1 kilometer shear into the DFW Metroplex. It's an environment supportive of tornadoes. This tornado warned one. It's possible we had a quick bird fart tornado just south of Pecan Acres, however you say it. Pecan, probably in Texas. But it does look like there could have been maybe a little weak bird fart tornado just to the south of town. Maybe even a little bit of a correlation drop too. Probably some fall colors getting lofted out there to the south of Pecan Acres. Tornado warning continues through Hazlet. It is going to pass to the north of Keller, but you're included in the tornado warning. Areas around Hazlet, I-35W are included in that tornado warning too. This Renegade lightning frequency hopefully will decrease, but you can definitely tell there's plenty of shear because you're even getting a little hook-like appendage on the south side of that Renegade bean-shaped supercell. There's Haltom City, Richland Hills, Hearst. This area always gets a lot of tornadoes out there, but I was worried that this could consolidate as it's coming into DFW, and it's definitely trying. Look at that. It's trying to dominate right here, just to the west of Westover Hills, River Oaks, but it's still severe. This gust front would need to bulge out as an effective RFD. You'd need a big surge of westerlies, and that would create a squeeze play of inflow right along the southern periphery of the forward flank gust front, and then that would possibly allow this storm to develop tornado potential as it moves into DFW. I'm still not seeing that tighten up, but you got to watch that cyclonic curvature, that gradient of that convergent line. This would be the area to watch if it does tighten up into a tornado. West-southwest of Fort Worth, west-southwest of Westover Hills, but it's not tightening up yet. Damaging wind potential definitely with this storm, but the tornado potential is not as high with it. Thanks everybody for tuning into this live update this morning. We are dominating this day from the weather briefing through the live storm chase, trying to increase awareness for severe weather, to let people know what's coming. Information saves lives. If you know what's coming to your location, you can take the necessary steps to save yourself and your family. This storm down near Granbury has weakened, not as much rotation out there. But please hit that subscribe button, everybody. Hit the follow button on Bookface. If you're interested, especially in immersive coverage, life-saving severe weather information, I've been breaking down radar for like 35 years. That's all I've been doing is just watching weather data, wanting to storm chase, thinking about storm chasing. So figure I'd share our information with everybody. Looks like this one has let go down near Pecan Acres. So you don't have a tornado out there. It looks like we may have had a brief spin up to the south of town. But the good news is that one is weakening a bit. Pecan Acres to Hazlitt. Still the tornado warning up near the Red River. I wonder if that one's ramping up a little bit once again. Even though it's kind of far away from the radar here, at least the DFW radar, it does look like you're starting to get an increase in the storm relative inflow just as this storm is approaching the Red River. All it needs is access to clean inflow. It carves out a little bit of clean inflow, and these storms will tap into that 3 to 400, 0 to 1 kilometer shear, and they'll go nuts. Wondering about these prefrontal confluence bands. Basically a sign of things to come today. You may want to do a bit of a slow pickle off to the west because this storm that's coming into DFW, into Dallas-Fort Worth, is trying to increase just south of White Settlement. I'm watching that area to ramp back up. But you do have a little bit of a hook-like appendage on the southwest side right now. Look at that. It does share the same gust front off to the south. It would require this to bulge out, pull in some inflow. So it is organizing as it's moving through Fort Worth. And you can see that it is trying to pull in that inflow just a little bit, just west of Westover Hills. That's the area that we're watching for the potential development of a tornado as it's moving right into the Fort Worth area. New outlook should be out too, but we are tracking this dangerous storm headed right into the DFW Metroplex. Looks like SPC has maintained the enhanced. Yep, it is out. 15% hatch area. Here is the new SPC outlook. There's the tornado probabilities. And it includes Shreveport to Lufkin, areas off to the east, includes Jackson as well. That might be a little bit later in the setup, overnight tonight potentially too. This is at 20Z, so this is 1 to 2 p.m. 12 to 2, 12 to 3 p.m. It moves through the Tyler, Longview areas. Look at all these. And then the nocturnal event begins across central Louisiana. South, this will be central Louisiana, Alexandria. This is going to be about 8 p.m. And then you get another prefrontal confluence line that develops on approach to the Mississippi River. But I think our event is going to be 11 a.m. to 5 out here across the Texas Piney Woods and eventually into Louisiana. This one's going to be a dangerous one down near Center, Texas at about 5, 6 p.m. Seems like everything's moving a little bit slower too. Models are trending just a bit slower. And boy, look at that. This is the event across the Texas Piney Woods. This is the one this morning, which the HRRR has modeled quite favorably, that ended up passing just to the south of Decatur. Now there's still a tornado warning, so the HRRR did a pretty good job on modeling those storms. Let me slide this a little bit to the west. There you can see it. These are updraft helicity tracks from the 12Z HRRR. It definitely showed this zone on the northwest side of DFW. We had damage reported just to the south of Decatur. We got a tornado warning up near the Red River right now. Even modeled some of those other storms that are developing near DFW. But this environment out here, this is what we are going for later on today. It's like renegades that are going to be impacting the I-20 corridor, eventually moving through I-20 in Louisiana. But it does seem like the tornado threat is starting to verify a bit further north too. May definitely want to include southern Arkansas in that risk area. Spreads overnight even into southwestern Arkansas near the Arklatex. Let's go back over to radars. We do have that storm that's approaching the DFW Metroplex this morning. Definitely turning into it's obviously a supercell. Watching it near River Oaks. You probably want to get in your safe place even near River Oaks, because it does look like we're starting to get a tighter circulation. Westworth Village, east of White Settlement. That's where that rotation would be located. Watching for this gust front to bulge out a little bit more. Oh, it looks like it's, yeah, good news for Dallas is that this whole thing bulged out and it looks like it pinched off the circulation near River Oaks. It's possible that you've got another hook, though, that's trying to come around to the north of that bulging gust front. Could be pulling in a little bit of inflow out near River Oaks. Severe thunderstorm warning, not a tornado warning right now. But it does look like we have a new hook-like appendage that's coming back out near the River Oaks area. Look at that, hook-like appendage pulling an inflow on the north side of River Oaks. That's what we're watching now, but it's a severe thunderstorm warning, not a tornado warning just yet. That storm is starting to die out a little bit, which is good news, but I'm watching that news cycle north of River Oaks for a new circulation, but you do have this pretty tight circulation just north of Westworth Village. Wonder if that's going to be possible to pinch off a quick tornado out there. It does look like there's a little bit of a correlation drop in that zone, and that's a pretty tight couplet, even though the magnitudes aren't very strong. It's in the right spot. It looks like it's trying to pinch off a possible weak tornado just north of Westworth Village right now. And then I think this gust front would probably dominate and then mitigate the tornado potential. Just west of River Oaks, south of Lake Worth. A little bit of inflow still pulling back to that circulation. And we do have kind of a tight couplet, even though the magnitudes aren't very strong. Okay, Johnny said might want to reassess heading that way due to metro traffic. Maybe some renegades could develop on the east side of the Metroplex. We probably need to watch this prefrontal renegade zone. That could certainly develop, and also watch the Metroplex. So I do think it's probably time to activate storm chase mode and do a pickle back toward the Metroplex. If you're in DFW, I think this storm is losing its tornado potential, but there's still a very favorable environment. But we gotta watch these prefrontal confluence bands out ahead of it. Stay tuned, everybody. Hit that subscribe button, notification bell, because we are activating storm chase mode here in the next hour. Heading west on I-20, full-blown storm chase mode. Captain Vanover out there, Ryan Argenti with the Tilting Project. We're going to be dominating. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in to this live weather briefing. And it went tornado warned right now, so we're staying live. Stay tuned, everybody. We do have this tornado warning in Dallas. They did end up warning that little circulation that we were watching south of Sansom Park. And there it is. We actually have a confirmed tornado in Dallas right now. That's a confirmed tornado in Dallas, everybody. Just southwest of Sansom Park, northwest of River Oaks. There's the TDS, Tornado Vortex signature. We just saw it. We've been watching it. Wow. There's that circulation. It's almost like a QLCS tornado that pinched off that supercell. You got the bulge happening. This is lifting off to the north too. It's in the northwest section of the warning box. Confirmed tornado. Southwest of Sansom Park. We were watching it. We saw it when it was severe warned. Zoomed in a little bit closer. We saw potential TDS, and now it's definite TDS. Look at that. We've got debris getting lofted northwest of River Oaks. There's your circulation. Look at that comma head. That's where the tornado is located. Dry air in the rear flank downdraft on the backside. A lot of dry air coming around, wrapping around. You got your RFD gust front pushing off to the east. That's a confirmed tornado, folks. TDS right now. I don't think this is going to be a very long-lived storm, but if you're in Sansom Park, get in your safe place. Should be there already because you've been in a tornado warning for about 2 minutes. Let's see what the next scan is going to show, but we've got a tornado in progress heading right toward your location. It's shedding the vortex, so it's turning north towards Sansom Park. Pretty dangerous situation here. We have got a tornado happening right now. We got the TDS, and there it is, Sansom Park. You got big debris right now happening. Sansom Park. Get in your safe place. This is a dangerous situation. Definite tornado, obviously. Destructive tornado heading towards Sansom Park, everybody. Share this stream if you know anybody that lives in Fort Worth. It's northwest Fort Worth, North Fort Worth that this is going to impact. You got straight line winds coming into downtown Fort Worth with the surging gust front. This is your tornado. Just southwest of Sansom Park, northwest of River Oaks. And there it is now, ejecting. Moving up towards Sansom Park. There it is, folks. There's your TDS. Correlation drops showing debris that's getting lofted. This is a very populated area near Sansom Park. This is going to be lifting over the north side of the DFW Metroplex. But there it is. Look at that. Almost like a QLCS type deal. With that bulge. This is a storm that we've been watching this entire briefing. We were watching that convergent zone. That's how it started off. We were watching for the inflow to increase. Didn't think it was going to quite happen, but it sure did. Right near Sansom Park. That's your hook echo. Look at that hook-like appendage around the southwest side. Boom. There's your hook-like appendage. It's still got inflow air trapped back behind this main gust front. It might try to cycle and form a little bit off further east. But right now, we definitely have this confirmed tornado. Sansom Park might have damage. It definitely do have damage. Hopefully loss of life is not happening. But this is a tornado lofting debris. And it's moving fast, too. And a lot of times when you get these forced tornado genesis, when you get that gust front surging off to the south of it, the squeeze play, sometimes these can actually be a little bit stronger than they appear on radar. And you definitely have Sansom Park. Dangerous tornado. Get in your safe place. Watch this even up near Blue Mound. A lot of times these supercells will shed and head to the north and make a little bit of a left-hand turn. This one's right along the northern gradient of the tornado warning. But Sansom Park, TDS, right now. There it is. Not surprising at all. Very strong wind shear in place. And we've got these renegades that are starting to produce lightning too out near Mesquite, over the east side of Dallas, out near I-20. These things are starting to mature into supercells. The main front is probably going to morph into more of a QLCS, and eventually this convection is going to weaken. This is probably the last gasp of this line. Just waiting for this tornado to breathe out and weaken, because it is over a populated area, causing damage, and it looks like the tornado may have just weakened. The debris field is starting to broaden out. It's aloft, but the damage has already been done out near Sansom Park. Crossing that highway near Sansom Park too. And this bulging gust front here that's going through Fort Worth is going to be associated with potentially damaging winds too. This basically is serving as an RFD gust front bulging through Fort Worth. Squall conditions, possible whiteout conditions there. Winds gusting 60, 70 miles an hour in that, but the tornado is back up here near Sansom Park. Possibly getting choked off by the inflow by this bulging RFD gust front. You can see the inflow channel. It doesn't need that inflow pop though once the tornado happens, and it does look like that tornado has weakened now just east of Sansom Park. But the damage has already been done. It was a quick tornado. It wasn't quite warned. We saw it evolve here live in real time. Didn't think it had enough mass or enough torque to fully finish, but you got it. When you have 300 to 400 0 to 1 kilometer shear, it's going to create an environment that is capable of tornadoes. So. Gotta watch this prefrontal confluence line out there east of Dallas. This is the main front. That's going to also have tornado potential. You can even see hints at these prefrontal confluence lines over the open warm sector that are starting to develop. Well, hopefully that'll get choked off, but keep an eye out. Stay tuned to these watches and warnings. That tornado has just lifted, but it still includes Watauga, Colleyville off to the northeast. Definitely get in your safe place. North Richland Hills, Euless, all those areas on the north side of Dallas. Pretty dangerous situation here. There's your tornado over the northern edge of the line. Especially watch out these locations on the north side. Watauga, North Richland Hills, Colleyville, Haltom City. That's right in the path of that circulation as it moves off to the east-northeast. Damn. Still have debris, but I believe that that's debris suspended still, left over from that tornado. Yeah, hopefully this thing weakens fast, but it does appear that there's a possibility that that tornado is still in progress, or at least the debris is lofted. Debris could be coming out of the sky shortly. It's east of Sansom Park, southwest of Blue Mound. And then you have this gust front moving through the Fort Worth area with potentially damaging straight line winds. Severe thunderstorm warning for Durant now. That formerly tornado warning storm has just now moved to the north of the Red River. All right, everybody, it's time to activate storm chase mode. Thank you for tuning in. Continue to stay tuned to these severe weather watches and warnings. If these red boxes get issued across the DFW Metroplex, take cover. Take shelter. You know what to do here. We still have this debris east of Sansom Park. I believe that that's probably lofted debris as the circulation is still there, still capable of producing tornadoes. So still very easily it could be a tornado on the ground in progress. It is to the west of North Richland Hills, but it's headed toward your location. It is weakening a little bit with time. But this prefrontal confluence line is really what we want to watch next. And also this area to the southwest of Tyler over the next 2 to 3 hours could develop. It's possible that we could get some renegades that form out of this area, but we really want to watch that zone southwest of Tyler. Echo tops are a great tool to kind of visualize how these bubblers are happening. They're not quite convective yet, but these echo tops here, this one is severe, headed toward Burleson. It's not rotating very strong, but it looks like mainly a straight line wind potential, but a tornado threat cannot be ruled out as this heads toward Burleson. So keep an eye on this too. This might be the next one down that tries to spin up and develop tornado potential on approach to the Burleson area. Usually you want to play these prefrontal renegades. I suspect that we're getting close to the diurnal minimum. Our tornado producer that already did some damage, that circulation appears to be broadening a little bit to the west of North Richland Hills. But stay in your safe place. Like Sturgis is getting some big snows. On the cold side of this system, definitely getting some big snows back there. So I'm going to be activating live storm chase mode very shortly, everybody. Stay tuned. Got to wonder if this will cycle. I don't think it's going to be capable of cycling that dramatically, but still keep an eye out on any of these inflow notches out near North Richland Hills, Haltom City. That's kind of your next area. But I'm not seeing a ramp up yet in the storm relative inflow with that portion of the line. Tornado watch, of course, is in effect across this region. The environment is very favorable for tornadoes. We're in radar breakdown mode, however, right now. And this one over the north side of Fort Worth is definitely starting to lose its identity a little bit. The tornado is actually back here with this comma head. And now it might be trying to cycle, but it is turning into more of a broad convective line as it pushes east through the DFW Metroplex. Here's your prefrontal confluence line out here. Notice how this convection is not becoming that vigorous right now. I think that's as we're getting a little closer to the diurnal minimum in the convection. And I think that we're going to breathe out a little bit this morning. And then as we go toward late morning near midday, I suspect that we'll get these renegades that'll form up southwest, south of Canton, southwest of Tyler. And that'll be the main event that happens moving through the Texas piney woods midday into the early to middle portion of the afternoon. So we got to keep an eye on that too. Okay, I do want to take a look at the HRRR again. This damn model. Dang, maybe we do just head toward the east side of DFW. It does appear that this main line kind of dominates as it slides off to the east. That's at 16Z. We're getting toward late morning, a couple hours from now. That's the main line sliding off to the east. You still have tornado potential within this line, but it's these prefrontal renegades that I'm especially worried about. 17 to 18Z. Look at them out here. Tyler, Longview area. This is going to be about noon to midday. And then that, look at this dominant prefrontal confluence line through East Texas. It bubbles into the early afternoon, and then starts to rocket. This is the main event just south of Tyler at about 1 to 2 p.m. This is going to be the main event for tornadoes out there. You can click on a sounding just to the east of those storms. Very favorable profiles. You got a 45 knot southerly low level jet, surface wind at about 15 knots. Plenty of surface based instability too. So this looks like it's going to be the main event coming out of the Texas piney woods. This is what we want to be on. You know, you don't want to mess with the main front. You want to be on these renegades. Look at that out there, folks. It's going to be near Tyler, Longview area, out towards Shreveport. That's going to be like 1, 2, 3 p.m. These renegades are going to form prefrontal confluence lines. Wow. So that's going to be the main event today, this afternoon, as those move off to the northeast. Texas piney woods eventually heading up towards Shreveport. These are going to be tornado producers likely near the Sabine River, and then you're going to get this confluence line developing into central Louisiana as we even go toward evening. Up toward Alexandria when we get towards 6 p.m. Let's see what the 12Z 3-kilometer NAM shows. Even the 3-kilometer NAM is starting to get on board with this dominant prefrontal confluence line. And even some renegades further east. But the HRRR model does a much better job at resolving some of the fine scale features. Look at that. Look at these storms down here south of Tyler. Gotta be patient today. We don't just want to blast into DFW, I think. Dew points up into the upper 60s. Wow. Here's Cape on the windy.com app. Check this out. You can obviously show your Cape nose, well defined. Still have our tornado warning, but that tornado has weakened in Fort Worth so far. But all of this is because of that instability nose. That's why we had this severe weather and tornado potential, that instability lifting all the way up through Dallas. Warm frontal zone is now through, of course, through Dallas. Even starting to knock on the back door here in Tyler. Temperature in Tyler right now, 64 degrees, but it's about to increase as this warm front just lifts north and east of the region. This is the windy.com app, adding all kinds of new products on this. Radar, visualizations. This is the HRRR on here. Raw temperatures, weather radar. Boom, look at that, folks. Very nice radar here as well. It's smooth, but definitely shows you that convective line coming through the DFW Metroplex. This is the tornado warned storm. You can also see lightning that's here. These lightning flashes, lightning pops. This storm heading up into the Fort Worth one. This is the warned one, but the main comma head is back right behind it. That's where that tornado is located. But we're also watching these prefrontal confluence lines out ahead of it. Areas of prefrontal confluence. That's what's going to be the tornado factories as we go through the day today. But tornado warning continues north side of Fort Worth up through Euless. Oh, it even has my location on there. Nice. Dang, thanks, guys. It's my location in Tyler. Prefrontal confluence. Hints at a prefrontal confluence line also. Just to our southwest. This is probably going to be the tornado factory. Somewhere down into this area. Eventually sliding up towards Shreveport. Noon, 2, 3, 4 p.m. the main front, but it's really these prefrontal confluence lines that you want to keep an eye on. We're going toward the diurnal minimum right now, but it's going to ramp up once again. Let's go back to radar really quick too. Still look at that tornado warning. That was radar, but we'll look at the warning polygon. Let's see where this tornado could be. And the tornado's gone. North Richland Hills, even though you're included in the tornado warning. North Richland Hills, the Colleyville. Still want to keep an eye out for tornado potential out there. So thank you everybody for tuning into this weather report. It is now time to activate live storm chasing mode. Stay tuned. We're going to be hitting the road here shortly. Tornado warning still, Fort Worth to North Richland Hills, but that circulation has since weakened. Thank you everybody. Never stop chasing.